Welcome to Chats with Selenites. I'm Christy and I'm here with David, our
Hello.
head of strategy, and we're here to talk about travel and tourism.
Yeah, digital marketing for the travel and tourism industry. It's going to be fun.
It is.
Come on.
So I'll jump right in. In 2026,
Yep.
what is the biggest shift that you've seen with people booking their trips?
Cool. The biggest shift probably in digital marketing overall for the tourism industry. So we had this big interruption in 2020 with COVID. So that shook the travel and tourism industry. A lot of our clients were shook. Obviously, the borders were shut in Australia. People couldn't travel. The international borders were shut, or people couldn't come in. People were just scared. So the industry, as I said, that's probably the right term. It was shook. What's happening right now is probably a even bigger shakeup of the industry. Not so much direct, but those that are jumping on it and those that are taking advantage of it are actually going to ride this wave. And what I'm talking about is probably the shift in AI and the shift in how people research their travel experiences. Okay, so because back until, before AI, we're really reliant on travel agents. We're really reliant on companies just pushing things upon us. So they're marketing their trips, and then we might talk to someone. And some of us organize it themselves, but it's cumbersome. Like, it takes a lot of time. You got to research this. You don't know that. You don't know this. AI turns that into a snap. So basically, what's happening now, and the big shift that's happening, is people are going to AI, to ChatGPT, to Claude, or whatever the systems that they're using, Perplexity or whatever, and they're asking these AI engines to plan their trips. Now, here's where this gets even more intense, is that if these people use their own account within ChatGPT, for example, Chad knows, we call it Chad, but ChatGPT knows that person's preferences, their lifestyle, their schedule, what they're used to. And Chat's going to give those kind of preferences based on what it knows in the internet. Okay, so here's where travel and tourism companies need to really jump onto this switch from just search engine optimization or just pushing offers on Meta to now actually being able to be in the ask conversation. That's what I call it with these AI engines. And you need to have a presence on ChatGPT, on Claude, on Perplexity, on Google Gemini, on Google Overviews, because the big shift that's happening is people are just going to these AI engines and they're just asking the AI engines to literally plan out my entire holiday schedule. I want this type of holiday going here. Here's my budget, and this isn't that. If you don't have that type of information on your website and available, those AI engines aren't going to pull it in, and you're going to miss out on this shift. So that's probably the biggest change that we're seeing in the travel and tourism industry, is that your travel agents are getting replaced with AI agents.
Right, of course.
Yeah, and companies need to be ready for that.
Yeah, so in terms of strategy, this obviously differs from traditional SEO style that travel agents would be doing. They now should be optimizing for AI.
Yeah, it's another thing to add. Okay, so SEO is not going away. So traditional SEO will stay as it is for now. That's what we're seeing. We're still seeing a lot of our clients getting quality traffic to their websites and converting that traffic. And it's the same for our travel industry clients. I think what it is you're shaping your brand and getting into the mix of the research in the customer journey much earlier on by being on these AI engines. And then usually what happens is they'll research your brand and find your website directly. So those are the kind of shifts that there's an opportunity right now to get into the conversation much earlier in the piece than just when they're ready to buy. And that's the big shift. And those that aren't going to build that trust and that relationship earlier on versus those people that jump on and actually have a presence in these AI engines.
Of course. So Talking a bit more about traditional SEO and
Great.
how it's still working.
Yes.
With schema markup, review integration, visual search, with all these SEO tactics, which ones are you seeing actually move the needle in the tourism and travel industry?
Cool. We're still seeing, so for example, company that we work with here on the Sunshine Coast, holiday accommodation, Mooloolaba. Those kind of traditional searches that we just do because we already, and this is for people that aren't trying to plan a big trip, but this is still a lot of kind of like your bread and butter for hotels and things like that. On the Sunshine Coast, it'll be the same for the Gold Coast, same for Sydney, in every major city. So probably your local tourism, your local travelers, they're still using these we can call it traditional ways of digital marketing. Just 10 years ago, SEO was the brand new thing. Now we're calling it traditional. But they're still using those. And then your schema, your reviews, all of those are relevant. Getting ranked there is still relevant. Being in all those comparison sites and things like that is still relevant because we already know what Sydney's like. We already know what Mooloolaba's like. We already know we want to go there. So we're not going to ask questions about that. We just need the source to book now. Okay, so those are relevant. What I was saying is the big shift is for people that are planning holidays, that are planning trips and things like that to places that they may have never been. So they may know they're going to Sydney, but if they don't know where they want to stay, then they would probably type in, I need to be at a meeting here, or I need to be at an event here. What's the best places near there? Where should I stay? And that's kind of where that earlier piece falls in. But those people that already know they may be rebooking, they're already educated. All your other marketing is really important still as well. Okay. So, and you said schema, reviews, all of those things are important for SEO, but they're just as important for AI SEO as well. Your reputation, your brand rankings, and also schema on your website is how AI agents are able to pass the information. So it's all still very relevant and important to do that basic stuff.
Wow. Okay. So if you had a tourism operator with a smaller budget, what would you say would be their first go-to in terms of SEO, AI to try to get themselves to be seen?
Yeah, your Google business profile, get that up and running, get reviews from people that have stayed at your accommodation, that have stayed, that have used your, for example, here on the Sunshine Coast, we have a lot of whale watching. We've got activities and things like that for tourism. But then, if you're running an Airbnb, if you're running a hotel, if you're running an outback adventure kind of thing. So we've worked with cruise ships that are just on the outback and things like that. People are still going to research your brand, and you need to have your Google business profile built out and optimized. So that's going to help you get people find you, but also to validate whether you're the right person is your reputation. So you need to work on your reviews, encourage reviews, address poor reviews and things like that. And that's really going to help. That's free. Okay. So that you can just use your time to do that. I think the other thing is, the third party sites, they're here to stay. They've got big budgets. So your What Ifs, your Trivagos, all these other comparison sites, they're here to stay. So you got to have a presence on there. And I know it sucks because you got to give a percentage. It's another cost and things like that. But they have the big marketing budgets. They have these big sites. They're driving the traffic. So if you're not on there, you're going to miss out. So those are the two things that I think are really essential still right now.
Yeah, okay. So from a Google business profile, you obviously want people to click on your website.
Right.
So what's probably the biggest common mistake you see on tourism or travel websites that kills bookings that might be blindly obvious to a user, but not so much for the business owner?
Yeah, this is more kind of probably your technical stuff that we see, and it's user experience. So these people, they want to come and they want to book, and then it's like, where's the booking button? Why is the system so hard to use? And it's usually budget related because they'll use like a plugin, a booking plugin or something like that, and it's cumbersome, it's hard to use. But really, you want to what I would suggest if you are getting traffic to your website and it's not converting into bookings, grab a few friends and just ask them, hey, try and make a booking here. And then watch them. So you're sitting behind them, they're going through the motions, and you take note of where are they getting stuck. So this is user experience optimization. Where are they getting stuck? Oh, they couldn't find the button. I've got to make the button more obvious. Oh, they had extra questions. There's no phone number to call. Okay, I've got to put a phone number on there. There's no way to pay. Like, how do we secure this? How do I know? There's no email follow-up. So all of these steps are part of the actual buying journey, and you can optimize each step. I think people just kind of, a lot of clients that we've worked with, they've got a website and they're like, oh, awesome, that's it. But it's like, that's just the first step. Once you get people to your site, you need them to actually go through the motions and book as well, because that's where the money is. Traffic to your site isn't going to pay the bills. It's bookings and rebookings that are actually going to pay the bills for your business.
Exactly. So talking more about a website, we hear a lot about mobile now and how it is, you need to obviously have your website made for mobile and being responsive. But apart from being responsive, what is the difference that you see in terms of a high converting travel website on mobile and a mediocre one?
Yeah, and each one's different. So, and it depends on what people are after. So what I mean by that is this someone planning a trip, or is it someone impulsive? I need to book a hotel now because I've got an unexpected trip coming up. So you need to understand, okay, where is my travel coming from? What am I optimizing for? And it might be both. Okay, so and it might just be people are researching on their phone real quick and they're saving something and things like that. So you got to optimize for both. That's the first thing. But if your predominant traffic, and you can search this in Google Search Console, if it's predominantly mobile, I would spend a lot more of my budget optimizing for a mobile phone than all the desktop, because a lot of the times, it looks beautiful on desktop, this and that. You get onto mobile and the pictures are too big, like the images are too big, the buttons are hidden behind the images, and it's basic stuff. Like, this isn't advanced mobile optimization. This is just, again, the same exercise we did with desktop, where you watch them on their phone. Are they having trouble going through things? So that's a really easy way to actually do mobile optimization. Just, again, get a couple of people in to try and actually use your site on their mobile and watch what they do. You'll be surprised how many things you can fix.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of conversion tactics on your website, things like, dynamic pricing and countdown timers.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you see as authentic versus a bit manipulative?
Yeah. Okay, so, and this is a marketing strategy, scarcity, time sensitivity, and things like that. And I think the travel industry actually lends itself really well to build urgency in the sales process. And the reason for that is, once all hotel rooms are gone, they are gone. So and you can see that on the big box sites like Trivago and things like that. They always say 3 rooms left and things like that. Now I'm of the view that you need to be integrous about that. If you've got 1,000 rooms in your hotel and people know that, and you know it's low season, you're saying there's only 3 rooms left, you're lying. So you're using something, and that I don't agree with that. But legitimate scarcity is a really powerful driver for people to book right there and then. Okay, and if it's legit, if you're running a good business that is nearly booked out, make use of that. Actually, there is plugins, there's apps and things like that you can use to build that urgency. So I think that's really important, using that. The same with trips. For whale watching, we worked with a crocodile feeding one up in the Northern Territory once. And obviously there's only so many people that can fit on the boat per trip. So use that, only this many spots left. So it lends itself to that really well. I think the other thing that works really well in the tourism industry is limited time offers and promotions, because it is seasonal. So again, I'm using this a lot, but it'll be seasonal for fishing charters, because different, like up here, you can't fish for certain fish at certain times of the year. So you could do promotions that up until this time, we're doing this promotion for this type of fishing charter. So again, you got your time sensitivity, but also the promotions going away altogether. So you can use that. So seasonal promotions are really good. And those types of offers work really well on Facebook. So we talked about AI engines and things like that. People aren't going to go and particularly search for those promotions and offers, because they don't know they exist. You've got to push them onto your market. So that's where Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all those types of channels, your push marketing channels work really well. SEO probably works much better for people that are already know what they want, know where they want to go. And then those kind of things, the limited availability helps with the conversion there. Okay, so the promotions would help with the conversion on your ads. The limited availability and urgency there helps with the conversion once people get to your website and things like that. So I think getting really smart about what's the nature of my business and where can I build in legitimate urgency, limited availability, time sensitivity, that really helps build conversions across the whole funnel, not just on the point of sale, but also on the point of the click through here and there. But it's got to be legitimate. Don't make stuff up. Don't make it ridiculous. Just use the natural gifts that your business and your industry is being given, and make the best use of that when you market.
So in terms of tracking conversions and on your website, how can we measure which marketing channels are working?
Yep. Yeah, tracking. It's an evolving problem as new technology comes out, as new sites come out, as new marketing channels come out. It's an ongoing thing. We do tracking at a whole kind of different levels. We track phone calls from the website using third-party tools that like Avanza, like CallRail, so we can actually track which phone calls, which traffic channels are producing phone calls. So you can have a phone number for Facebook. You can have a phone number for Google Ads. You can have a separate phone number that shows up for SEO. So you can really kind of drill down on those. Obviously, GA4 is a big one for us that we use for conversion. So you can set up goals, conversion goals, booking goals, and things like that. And you can track all of that. Now, I know with GA4, there'll be like touch points and it'll kind of break down the goals. So you just got to become across at that. And I would look also at your other metrics. So not just conversion metrics, but at your traffic metrics. And how are they influencing? So you got to look at the whole picture. I think that's what and this is going pretty deep. This is why you hire an agency like us to explain all of this to you. We do this for clients every month where we're like, okay, well, traffic is doing really well here, but we're not seeing any conversions. So what's going on? Should we be spending money here? And those are the kind of questions you need to ask. We're spending 10 grand on meta ads and we're getting a bunch of clicks, but none of them are converting into sales. Is that a conversion issue? Have we not set our tracking up correctly? Or is it the actual media and it's not working for us? So that's when you can start being rather than just knowing or saying, I've got to do more marketing. You might already be doing all this marketing, but having the right tracking set up will help you make good educated decision of what's working, what's not working, where are the sticking points. Okay, we're getting a lot of traffic from SEO, but none of it's converting. Are we just driving informational traffic? Okay, that's not a bad thing, because let's look at the full customer journey. And we found that ever since we started doing this SEO and started ranking, our Google ads started converting way better. So it's important to understand the full picture, not just looking at just the conversions. How are these conversions influenced? If in AI, we're getting a lot more visibility, now our paid channels are working a lot better. So for example, we're getting found in AI. We're running promotions for example, a cruise company is now running promotions for these cruises that are coming up. They're working a lot better ever since we've shown up. It's probably because someone's typing in, what are the best cruises from Australia at this date? If you start to show up there, then they get hit with an offer. They're like, I'm in the market for this. Now they've an offer's in front of me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. That's going to convert a lot better because we've already had a touch point on this other channel. So we got to track all these things, but then also track the conversion point, and you have to look at the whole picture. One channel is never going to give you all the answers. You got to look at them all together and how they're working. And as I said, that's pretty technical. That's a lot, but that's what you pay specialists like us to do to help companies with.
Yeah, of course. And you spoke there a bit about meta ads and Google ads, obviously paid ways to get traffic. So for a medium business that doesn't have a huge budget, with meta ads, OTAs, when should you be saying no to these? How do you know which ones to say no to?
Yeah, I think with any marketing, it's test. So if you have a certain budget, be really clear with your agency. This is the budget I have, and you've got to be clear what the objectives are. Probably with a smaller budget, you want to go with channels that are going to convert. So you're not just building your brand. So you want to use your time for that. If you've got really a lot of time, we can create really good organic content. The travel and tourism industry lends itself so well to doing content, like incredibly well. Hopefully we can probably touch on that in a moment, because there is just so much that they can do, and we'll give some really good strategies there. But where do you allocate the budget? I would look at, for what's working really well is Google Ads. People are still going to Google to buy and book. If you are running promotions and it's a good offer and unique, Facebook ads would work really well to get that traffic in. So that's probably my recommendation from what we're seeing working. But again, if you wanted a more holistic answer, is test, see if it's working. And if it is, it should start paying for itself so you can scale. That's how you scale. You don't get from spending $1,000 a month to spending $100K a month from there to there overnight. You work out what's working at 1,000. Okay, I can scale that to 5,000 because it's brought in that increase. And then what's working at 5,000 isn't going to work what's working at 10, at 50, at 100K. So you've got to just take progress. It's a journey to get there. It's not just a matter of spending more. The strategy needs to grow with it as well. So that's probably what I would say. It's start small and see what's working, and then scale it. But if you've got really good offers, go with Facebook. If you've got really good product that's in demand and people already know about it, go with Google Ads.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And so you mentioned a little bit about content as well. I'd like to first jump into the video side of content, especially
that's the one I was going to cover.
Okay, especially with, TikTok and Instagram Reels and everything out there now. What's the difference between building just engagement and views and actually having someone be in the consideration phase and want to click on your business and choose you? What's the difference, and how do you know which strategies to use?
Yep. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. So video allows you to be that person. And they may not know you from a bar of soap, but if you give really good information, explain things, walk them through things, we call it dramatic demonstration of your wizardry, dramatic demonstration of how your product works, dramatic demonstration of how your service works. You're helping build that rapport, and that's just what salesmanship's been about all along. It's just back in the day, you'd had the vacuum cleaner person knocking on your door and demonstrating the product. Like, that's what door-to-door salespersons were. Now we're able to do that at scale across the internet. So again, tourism companies in Australia, really important. Don't neglect your international market. So people that are looking to come in and visit Australia and do their tours and stuff like that, if you're not providing the advice, they're going to get a local person in their country to do it. So, for example, if you, let's say, we've got a cruise ship. You run a cruise boat in the middle of Australia in the Kimberley, high end. These people aren't just going to hire and book that trip on a whim. They want to know, okay, what's included. So if you run that cruise ship, let's say you've got 30 rooms on that boat, why don't you do a tour of each type of actual cabin? So let's say you've got 3 different classes. You got your bronze, silver, and gold class. Do an actual tour of what the bronze cabins look like. So walk through, hey, I'm here in the bronze cabin. This is what it's going to be like. Here's your entryway. Okay, here's your 2 beds. You've got this beautiful window here, and walk them through the features, the benefits of that room. Then do the same for the silver version. Then do the same for the gold version. Do the same for the for where they're going to have dinner, where they're going to enjoy their time on the deck with the activities. And you're literally documenting everything that they're going to get so people can experience that via video. So underdone. Like, even in hotels, it's like, you've got 1,000 rooms. Not all of them are the same, but a lot of them are the same, but you're probably going to have different categories. Like, you got the penthouse, you got the suites, you got the normal rooms, there's 3 or 4 different videos you can do straight away. And people want to know what the rooms look like when they're going to stay there. Yeah. Like, not just some photos from 20 years ago. This is up-to-date content. So I think content creation is just so easy. It lends itself so well to the travel and tourism industry because it's exciting. It's experiential. Like, you want to experience it. If you're doing tours, like show them what the tours are like. Here, we're out here today with these guys. Like it's daily. You could be producing content. But then also you're big on SEO, Christy. So writing articles on how to choose the best hotel room in Sydney or how to choose the best hotel on the Sunshine Coast, what to look for. And you being the expert, well, if you want to be near the coast, probably Mooloolaba, probably Noosa, and then you can do the price points. Then you can be, do you want to be right on the beach? Here's the pros and cons. Do you want to be more on the land? So, okay, Mullaney, things like that. Same with the Gold Coast, the Outback and things like that. You can become the expert. There is limitless opportunities for content. And the awesome thing is, all of that content gets pulled into the AI engines. AI engines love this content. And we started there right at the beginning. So the AI engine knows what this person likes. If the things that you've just covered with your content align with what they like, it's going to get pulled in. So like beachfront holiday, you love being at the beach. Your article about beachfront holiday stuff is going to get pulled in to produce those answers. You're going to get a citation. You're probably going to get your brand mentioned in that activity, that ask session that they're doing on the AI engines. So that's kind of, we're bringing it right back. So you need to be there at every place of the customer journey. That's the real important thing.
Yeah, okay. So if a business is doing everything they can, video content, social posts, blog content, and they're just seeing average, mediocre results, what would be your diagnostic process?
The number one thing I would do is set up tracking and seeing why. Because if you're doing all the activity, where are the actual numbers at? So is it working? Because a lot of people think, oh yeah, it's working all right. And it's like, how do you know? Oh, well, I don't know. I got a few likes and this and that. Okay, cool. That's one measure. But is it driving any traffic? Is it getting shared? So you look at all the touch points on all the different channels. So you say you're writing content, but is it even getting indexed? Is it even getting any traffic? And that comes down to tracking. So I think tracking, it's such a dry topic, but it's so underrated because literally you're throwing a lot of our clients, their budget's 10, 20, 50 grand a month on marketing, and you're not tracking this properly. Like, you need to know what's working and what's not. And it's not that hard. If you get a specialist to set up your tracking, you'll understand straight away how your marketing is actually performing in different channels. And then I'm a big believer in scale the winners, toss the losers. So that's what tracking allows you to do. So if you're spending 10 hours every week on doing videos, but none of your videos are working, for whatever reason that might be, don't do that. Use that time for something more effective. That's probably what I would recommend if you're seeing kind of mediocre results. We can go way deeper and it's like, okay, now let's analyze each channel. But I'd probably look at which channel's working the best at this point in time, who's responding where, what's hitting a nerve in the market, and then kind of go after that before trying to fix everything else. So I narrow in on that and already improve what's already working.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And before I let you go, I have one last question for you. So in terms of trends or tactics in the travel and tourism industry, what's one that you're testing at the moment that most, travel businesses aren't using yet or aren't aware of yet?
It's probably the AEO, AI, whatever you want to call it, GEO. That's the biggest one. I led with that. That's the biggest shift. Yeah. That especially in this industry, because and I'm not saying that travel agents are getting replaced. They're not. But their expertise need to be translated to online content, because people are going there as the first place, because they don't want to talk to someone straight away because they'll just get sold into something. This is a risk-free way without any kind of obligation to just kind of figure things out. So it's been present in the AI engines. But I think the probably the most underrated thing is having everything that we talked about in place. So not just relying on one channel, not on one marketing strategy, having a marketing mix across all the channels that are actually relevant for your market. That's just good marketing. Being where your customers are and not worrying about the hype of, like, if TikTok's not your thing, if your customers aren't there, don't waste time there. I think it's not really a breakthrough. I think it's the underrated thing that's hiding in plain sight for a lot of travel and tourism companies. They think they have to be here and here. It's like, well, let's work out if your customers are actually there and if it's working for you. But if I had to choose one, it'd be AI search for this industry. That's the breakthrough one in 2026.
Yeah, beautiful. All right,
Awesome.
AI is everywhere now. Well, thank you so much for joining us, David, and
No
thank
problem.
you for joining Chats with Selenites, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.